How's it going out there, folks? Welcome back here to a Tuesday. August 20th, 2024 is the date, about 11:14 a.m. here, California time. Latest activity here on the globe, pretty obvious. Got a lot of earthquake activity here across the big island of Hawaii, where we're seeing a pretty large earthquake swarm stir up overnight and is continuing to this hour. Look at this, got a massive amount of earthquake activity around the upper east rift zone here of Hawaii, and I've been chatting about this for a little bit, been stating here that something's got to happen, right? Well, it looks like we're seeing potentially a maybe an eruptive event take place here soon, very soon, across the upper east rift zone. We got almost 200 earthquakes here, and the majority of that has been since about midnight last night, 1 o'clock in the morning. We got, a number of earthquakes in there, that's for sure. Largest magnitude so far in the 3 range, but notice the location and the depth of these earthquakes there, just below the surface. So we could be talking about an imminent breakthrough here soon across this area. This, of course, has been pressurized here in this region since the end of July. Let's go take a look here at some of the models real quick. Let's show you the deformation data. Wow, look at that. Woo. So let me explain here. This is the past month here of inflation, the electronic tilt meter here at the Kilauea Summit and the upper east rift zone. Back in the end of July, we've seen a previous level of heightened inflation there at the summit. That magma intrusion went off to the upper east, middle and upper east rift zone. So that's why we lost a lot of volume. That magma had to go somewhere, right? So it's scooting off a little bit to the east from the summit area. Since then, since the end of July, we've been going up and up and up until right now. In the last about the last 6 hours or so. Notice right here that huge drop in inflation. That tells me right there that the magma has finally moved further into this area right here, right around where we're seeing that earthquake activity. Prior to that, we were looking at a whole bunch of inflation up here across this region. So magma is on the roll, on the move, so to speak, just below the subsurface area of Kilauea Volcano. And it looks as though it's recharging, re-amplifying this area that has already seen that magma intrusion there since the end of July. Let me check one more thing here, see what our tilt meter looks like in that location specifically, where we're seeing all that earthquake activity. Goodness. The volcano is still at a yellow, by the way, yellow and advisory. I don't know how long it's going to be like that with this intense earthquake swarming. They may stir things up here in terms of the advisory. Tilt meter right here. So it looks as though, there's definitely some tilt going on there. It looks like a fairly large spike in that region. Let me look at a different one. That was this area. I'm going to get rid of a few of these. And then that should just leave tilt meters out here. And I know there's more than that, but unfortunately it's the same color as the former lava flows here. Let me get rid of past lava flows. There we go. Now maybe I can see. Here's the summit area. That did show obviously a quick inflation there over the last couple days, but notice that drop here. That's what we're seeing on the other graph as well. I thought there was another tilt meter station out here somewhere within this region. There's one there. Huh. That's a little odd. We got one a little bit further over here, but I don't think this is going to be... Yeah, this one's been going up as well since earlier in August. So either way, right now we have a lot going on here below the surface. I want to check out the surface area, see what we got going on far as any unusual activity. There's a look. I'll fill that out later. USGS. A little look here at the area of the Big Island. There's the Lava Lake region. Notice some volcanic gases up here around the sides of it as well. This is where a few of the eruptions have been confined and slowly filling up this lake over time. Our immediate last eruption, though, was off on the southwest rift zone away from this area, and that was only about a 10-hour event with some fissure activity opening up there outside of that region in the southwest rift zone in this area. This is Kilauea's upper southwest rift zone looking north. So that activity would have been somewhere out in here. But that was, a couple months back. But right now, the view, I'm not seeing anything of abnormal activity. Here is the Kilauea summit from the Mauna Loa Strip Road. So nothing of any visual aspect of things as far as the eruption goes. Looks like a beautiful day out there, but goodness, we got a lot of earthquake activity stirring up. So magma moving around. And, of course, this area right here where we're seeing all that earthquake activity has been inflated ever since the end of July, this specific region down here. And we've been noticing a little bit of migration, a little migration pattern here. Let me bring up the USGS map once again here. A little migrational pattern towards the upper or towards the middle East Rift Zone and even down towards the lower East Rift Zone here over the last couple days. Not a lot, but most of the activity stirring up overnight and has been confined to this area with very shallow earthquake activity, increasing magnitude levels as far as the magnitude of these earthquakes. And they're super shallow. So it's very possible we could see something break through here very soon. Because this area has been already pressurized over the last month since the last magma intrusion there at the end of July. So obviously it's a little uptick, a lot of earthquake activity, a lot of uptick, but no breakage here through the surface in terms of any fissure events taking place here. But if it continues here, we could be talking about an eruption breaking through this area. We'll keep an eye there on the USGS updates, but right now it's still at a yellow and advisory. They have not put out an update yet. Normally, when we have an increasing event like this, hundreds of earthquakes in a short amount of time, they will pop on here and give an update. But I'm not seeing anything that is recent, far from today, as far as today goes. This is from yesterday. Inflationary ground deformation continues at the summit, but has slowed in the Middle East Rift Zone until now. So this is going to read a lot different today. New seismic swarms may occur with little or no warning and result in either an intrusion or magma or eruption of lava in these regions. So right now we got an intrusion going on in the Middle East Rift Zone area, and we'll see what the USGS states, but I think that it's going to be a lot different wording here once they put out that newest update, because that's a lot of earthquake activity, folks. That's almost 200 earthquakes since technically in the last 6 hours. A lot of activity. All right, and there is some leading off here. So we'll have to see how that plays out. All right, so checking out the Eastern Pacific over here across Alaska, 3.4 coming in the last hour. Far as let's check out the Pacific Northwest here. Not a whole lot going on there. Mostly smaller microquake activity from yesterday. Northern California, roughly about the same as well. A couple of smaller earthquakes here at the Cascadia subduction zone. That is expected because the tremor activity here yesterday was elevated in certain regions. Let me show you guys the tremor map here from yesterday. We had about 555 epicenters of tremor, most of it up here in Washington, but we did have some in Northern California here at the extreme southern end. It doesn't get much lower than this. The Cascadia does not run underneath Sacramento or even, well, sometimes it goes down to the Chico area, but that's the extent of the subduction zone here, that Cascadia, excuse me. So a little bit here at the extreme southern end, And what that is tremor activity occurring down into the subduction zone, the deeper areas, about 45 kilometers deep there. As that tremor occurs, strain builds upstream here, and that's why we're seeing a little bit of earthquake activity on the extreme southern end right here. Just on the extreme southern end of the Cascadia, 1.8 and 1.7 there from yesterday. So we'll see what today's tremor amount looks like. But obviously, I'm a firm believer whenever there's elevated uptick in terms of tremor, that's the time when we could see higher chances of a Cascadia earthquake. And those are the big ones. One little earthquake here on the San Francisco San Andreas Fault area outside the San Francisco Zoo. 1.2, nothing big going on there for now. As far as Southern California goes, still seeing some earthquake activity in our zones. A couple different zones that we've been watching here across Bakersfield, just southwest here, where we've seen that 5-pointer over just about 2 weeks now. Some activity there in the Ridgecrest area. A little bit of movement here into the Puente Hills Thrust Fault as well. This is that region that's seen that mid 4-pointer about a week or so ago. And a little area down here west of the Salton Sea. It looks like that swarm has kind of died off, but we're still seeing some elevated activity here on the San Jacinto Fault Zone. And overall seismic activity has been on the increase since last night. Let's check out the Bakersfield area here. About 13 earthquakes in the last 24 hours. Couple twos in there as well. This could continue for a little while and die off, or it could lead to something bigger. Just never know. We don't have a crystal ball into figuring out when the next big earthquake is going to take place. Obviously, it will happen down the road. Who knows when, though. A couple other smaller quakes there in the Ridgecrest region. A look at the 2.5 map and above for the area shows a 2.8 up here around the Walker Lake area of Nevada. Far as the newest activity goes, that's near the Walker Lake area. There's a little swarm going on up there in Nevada. Seems like when we got increasing strain out here against the Pacific Plate and the North American Plate, things really stir up inland. Like we've seen that activity there northwest of Las Vegas here a few days back. Although it looks like the activity is shifting a little bit up north here now to the Walker Lake area, where we got some twos stirring up. A couple twos. So that tells me right there that the plate boundary here is strained and stressed. Another earthquake there coming in the last 5 minutes near Antioch, 2.0 in the Bay Area. Delta region, I should say, of Northern California. So we'll continue to watch the West Coast here. Things look like they're starting to kick up a little bit again within the last hour. Far as worldwide activity goes, let's take a look here at New Zealand. Couple threes down there. Really nothing big going on. It looks a little bit quiet out here, doesn't it? Hold on a second here. When was the last quake? This was at 7:52 a.m. California time for 4.3 Philippine Trench. Where is that 4.3? Interesting. So it looks as though due to the increasing swarm out there in Hawaii, and it did this last time when we had all that swarming in California, had to increase the time date here on the globe to show some of the older worldwide earthquake activity events. I don't know why it does it, but whenever there's a big swarm out here, soaks up the other earthquakes on the globe in this app anyway. And so I have to manually adjust that on occasion. So we should be okay right now as far as 24-hour earthquake activity on the globe. It looked a little quiet out here, and it's really not. It's just the globe was dropping the worldwide quakes to account for the number of quakes out here in Hawaii, because that's a lot. Quite a bit. All right, so even so here around the Philippines, doesn't look all that active right now. A couple fours and some threes. Japan area, 5.2. That's from yesterday, I believe. Yeah, that was 1 o'clock this morning here, actually. 5.2, 63 miles deep into that area of the Kamchatka Trench. Of course, we've seen that 7-pointer up here a few days back. Got to watch this area, right? I mean, a 7-pointer is a big earthquake, but that's not the full potential that this subduction zone can that harbors out here. It can produce some 9-pointers. So 5.2 out here on the southern end of the Kuril-Kamchatka. The latest one, a 4.7 earthquake here, way over around the China area, down here in the blue circle. See what else we got across the globe here. Mediterranean area, a couple smaller quakes. The Atlantic Ocean, fairly quiet. Man, Hawaii is just super duper active. So let's go check out the Iceland activity here real quick, where we got a separate swarm south of the Reykjanes Peninsula here. Let me zoom in so you guys can see this area of intense earthquakes swarming down here. Got about 108 earthquakes on the map, mostly smaller quakes. There's a couple twos in here as well in this region. Overall pattern of elevated activity across the rift zones. That could amplify just enough here to create an eruption across the already swollen Svartsengi area. Inflation underneath this region has been building since our last eruption here a couple months back. So any time now we'll see this potentially break through for a fissure event. Most of the earthquake activity has been confined down south here as well, near the Lagafell region and the Grindavik area, northwest part of town here. So it's going to be interesting to watch, see if we don't get some eruptive events out here in this area. But who knows? It could happen anywhere in this region out here. Let's go check out the latest information. Well, Yellowstone real quick. Just let me refresh this, see if we got anything. Nope. Zip zero, nada. Looks like some earthquake activity, or not earthquake activity, but wind events. Let me check that out here in a second. Let me go back over to what I was doing here, bouncing back and forth ahead of myself. I want to check out the latest Iceland update here, see if they put anything out. This was put out today, the 20th. There is still a high probability of a magma run and even an eruption in the craters area. It's a little bit off on the wording because of the translation from Icelandic to English, but we know what they mean, right? An eruption is imminent at any time. There are clear signs that pressure is building in the area. Seismic activity is growing day by day. The volume of magma underneath this area is more than before the last couple events, the last couple eruptions. So again, just waiting. We're just waiting. Here's the latest magma accumulation underneath this area. Look at that. The red line here indicating the most recent one from end of May up to our current time period. Look at that. We're well above even the previous ones from when it all began back in the November time frame. So of last year. So things are definitely on the uptick here, more than they have been before. So that tells me right there something maybe bigger is coming out here. Again, there's always that concern of seeing some activity around the Grindavik area, which would be worst case scenario. See, the total volume of magma underneath Svartsengi is now greater than it has been before the last event. So something is up here for sure. All right, Yellowstone National Park, back to this little reading out here. It looks like confined wind event over there, maybe thunderstorms about 4 hours ago. I want to double check that and make sure, because sometimes it could look like magma rolling around underneath there as well. So we're going to go to weather radar and see what has stirred up here in the last 6 hours. Most of the time in the afternoon, these guys do get some thunderstorms, but morning thunderstorms have been known to happen up here as well. Oh yeah, see, it was mostly on the west side here of Yellowstone National Park. So that's why that reading right here, and I showed you guys about 4 hours or so ago, that is that line of thunderstorms that blew through there. When the thunder rolls, right, these seismograph stations, they really pick up the readings here. And it was confined mostly to this area around the northwest. This station right here, Maple Creek picked it up. Not so much over here where the thunderstorms missed. So I'd like to point that out, because this at times could be confused with fluid movement or magma intrusion, but it's not. That's thunderstorm activity. I always like to point out the facts. All right. Already got a little earthquake out there in New Jersey. A couple of them, it looks like, from late last night. 1.4, 1.0. New Madrid seismic zone there. Got a little small quake, 2.0 from last night. So we'll continue to keep an eye here on the West Coast. It does look like things are lighting up generally across the entire area out here. And, of course, Hawaii, things are really ramping up out here. We could see something break through at any time. But, again, they have not put out any new statement here. Kilauea Volcano still sitting at a yellow and advisory. Just want to refresh this, see if I got, 819. That's from yesterday, so I'm a little slow out there today. It's still a little early out in the Hawaii area, so maybe they're reviewing all this movement. But again, with this type of elevated earthquake activity, we could be talking about an imminent eruption here. Breakthrough across this area. Right now it looks like an intrusion, but as that intrusion happens, we're building up further steam underneath this area, literally. Space weather activity here. Couple C, couple M flares overnight. Nothing big. There's those low-grade M flares kicking up there into the M flare category. I'm sure there was a number of CMEs produced from this M flare activity, but I don't think anything Earth-directed. Nothing major in the Aurora forecast here for now. Still got a decent chance of X flare probability at 20%, M flare at 65%, C flare around 99% chance. And there are numerous sunspots looking at us right now. The main area that's been throwing off some M flares is going to be this area right here. Notice the close proximity of all the magnetic colors there. But that's about it. These other ones have a split. Couple splits there. Unless this thing grows some more, I don't think it's going to produce any stronger flaring. The main area of concern right now is going to be this region here with the complexity and that magnetic core that produces that special spark called a solar flare, so to speak. All right, weather outlook here today. Storm Prediction Center. Little slight risk up across areas of Montana. Some more thunderstorms there for Wyoming, it looks like, including Yellowstone. Wind appears to be the main threat out there today across Montana. A little bit of hail down in Colorado as well, but overall, looks like just a typical summer day out there across the area. All right, folks, I am going to jump off here. Seismograph stations here look pretty calm, pretty clear. Not a whole lot going on, but obviously we know that that may not last for long in certain areas. The latest quake at 2.9 coming in. Seems to be getting a little bit stronger now, another 1.9. So these things are coming in back to back here with earthquake activity. So keep an eye there. That's one station I'm missing, huh? I'm missing my Hawaii station out here, so I'm going to have to add that on to the seismos. I don't know why I have so many Japan stations up here. So I'll fix this outside the update video. Have a good day, folks. We'll catch you guys back out here a little bit later on this afternoon, unless something major happens. Have a good one.